Christine. It is time for a scrapbook process video, and I can't even tell you, stinking excited that Rochelle at the Scrap Room asked me to be a guest designer this month. I think it's kind of like on Big Bang Theory, if you've ever watched that, where Leonard just kind of beat Penny down by loving on her until she finally marries him. I think I've tagged Scrap Room so many times in my my posts and layouts that she was finally like, oh my gosh, I gotta let this lady design for me. So anyway, thank you so much, Rochelle. I am so freaking excited. So one of the kicks we get this month is from Doodlebug. It is the Butterfly Kisses collection. Sorry, it's shiny. I'm going to pull that. Hold on a second. Let me show you this, because this is actually from, I think, the embellishment kit, which is the sticker sheet. And this is what, came in the actual flavors of the month. So it's this Butterfly Kisses, and that is so cute. Look at that. This little rainbow of, like, springtime stuff. And then we have our little butterfly on the back side, tone on tone. We have this pretty, lovely diagonal stripe. Looks like candy. And then we have tags. This is kind of perfect, and I'll tell you why. And then we have this pink tone on tone with these cute butterflies. This is just adorable. And then, of course, it comes with a couple pieces of white cardstock. And the photo, and then I get a little baggie full of embellishments, and we'll pull those out in a minute. And then I have this little photo of my daughter. She's not cute. This would have been, I think, 4 months. Yes, 4 months. I can still recognize my daughter. Is she not adorable? I had these little headband things for her for every outfit and matching shoes. Totally cute. And what I decided to do was for the May sketch challenge. I thought this would be perfect. And this is why I said that about the tags. Look at that. It's perfect. So I've got this is the flavors of the month. And then she was kind enough to send the embellishment, which is the stickers. And so that's perfect too, because it's got these little border stickers, which will be good for this horizontal element here. So from a title standpoint, I don't know what's in here. I mean, there's this So Loved, which would totally work. There's a couple little things. I don't see a title, so we're going to stick with just the probably So Loved. I love this Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings, and I may end up putting that like on the tag. I don't know which one I'm going to use. I kind of wanted to frame it, and I may end up using this one only because, where's my sketch now? Oh, shoot. Here it is. Because it kind of tucks in. It tucks in a little bit, and I can cut into this without losing too much of the tag. So I think that I might do that. I'm going to have to use possibly this one because it's the only one that I won't have to cut into that I can't lose a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm going to take that branding strip off and see, though, because I have to come in like to here. I think it'll be okay. So that's what I think I'm going to do, you guys. So let me get to going here. The only thing is this is a bigger photo. So the other thing I may do is use like, because you see I have 4 of these. I don't want to use all 4 maybe. So I may use 2 of them just because, I have extras. So, yeah. If I frame that out, I may have to use the white. I think I'll use the white and then frame it out. And then I've used the colors behind the little, yeah, that's really cute. We'll do that. Okay, let me do a little bit of cutting, and I'll be back on in just a second, and you can see me go for it. Okay, you guys, so I started to gut this off camera. I thought, I'm going to kind of show them what I do here, because as I mentioned, if I gutted it without kind of contemplating which tag, I would have been in trouble. So I'm going to use a green tag, as you saw just there. I've kind of done a little bit of a extra wide on the sides, and then the top I had to go a little bit shorter because, again, I had to have that green tag. Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you guys, so I put this, I put all this tape down. I might should have used Nuvo glue, but I put that ATG down, then I glued it down, and I didn't notice for the longest, but the ATG was actually taped it to the desk there. Now, it wasn't a big deal because it lifted right up, but I didn't think about it. I kept thinking, I'm going along, and it's like, it never moved. It actually kind of helped because it kept me on camera. But I will actually add a piece of like scrap cardstock to the very back of that layout because the ATG kind of went on the inside of the strap there or whatever, and it kind of was sticky, so I'll fix that. Okay, so I got my little tag. I'm going to trim this up, and you can see I didn't lose too much on the bottom. That's why I chose that green tag. So I'm going to trim this up. I've cut my photos off, and I'm kind of looking at these going, okay, I've got to make my kind of bigger vertical pieces. So I'm going to make the pink one the longer one. Yes, the longer one. I make it 4 inches across, and I will trim that in just a second. I think I make it 10.5 or something. The butterfly piece I'm going to make 4.5 inches across, and then I did cut it down to, oh shoot, I think it's 10. I think it's 10. I could go back and measure if I have to, and you just really have to know. But I just eyeballed it really as per the sketch. I will tell you this butterfly paper is so adorable, but I do make myself a little bit challenging on that because I have to embellish on that side, and I had to kind of add some stuff because it was like getting lost on the butterflies. But you'll see kind of what I do in the end. So I got my tag cut, I got my butterflies paper and my pink paper, and I'm going to go ahead and mount these photos. I really wanted to mount them on this stripe, and at first I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. I'll go ahead and do it though. But first I mount the photos on white cardstock, and I have to find a piece. It takes me just a second. I'm going to mount them on a piece of white scrap cardstock over here, and then I'll mount them on the little diagonal stripe. I do have the little stickers that are going to be horizontal. I don't guess I pulled those out yet. I guess I'm still messing with the photos. Some of this I should have left out, but I don't know. I was kind of cutting through here. I actually kind of did this this was a really quick. I have to say, when you have the sketches or you have the, I'm going to do the Freaky Fast Friday one too this month. And I'm excited about that. I don't do that very often, mostly because I forget about it. I do the sketch one more often. I don't know why I forget the Freaky Fast, because I actually kind of love it. I watch a couple of the design team members do it, and I'm always kind of amazed with the, it just can turn out so different with the same measurements of papers. It's kind of crazy. I use my T-square here to make sure everything's straight. I'm going to do that because it kept looking, I can usually eyeball it, but for whatever reason, this one just felt like I was off, so I fixed that. I do love the Doodlebug stuff for little baby pictures, though. They just have the cutest little patterns. They're just so fun and whimsical. I don't know. I started to use, there's actually, when I open up the embellishment kit, you'll see it. There's like a little frog in there, and there's little birds and stuff, and I thought about using those. I don't think I actually end up using those. Well, I use like bird, but not the one with the cute little face, I don't think. I'll find another way. I will say, too, there's some of the stickers look really good for cards. So I'm excited to make maybe some cards out of the scraps. So that's a trick, by the way, or a tip. I usually will go through, I've started doing this more recently because I do have scrap envelopes, and I used to just stick my scraps after every layout in those envelopes. Now I have taken to using, especially with the scrap room, because it's just, it's so well, it's like just in a single collection in your little envelope, my little plastic envelope, whatever. So I'll make usually at least 2, sometimes 3 layouts, and I'll have just enough scraps left over to make a couple of cards. And I'll just go grab a couple of pieces of cardstock, I'll cut it up, make some cards. And especially if there's little stickers with sentiments on them. And so I've really enjoyed that because I tend to use up the collection that way, and I don't hoard them. Okay, here's my little horizontal sticker. I started to stick this green one down. I do use it, but I realized, well, now I've got green on top of green with that tag, and so I'm going to add, I added that little blue one. Now, I offset it on the left side, and on the right side, I really meant to, and then I forgot, and I just snipped them even. It's not a big deal. I mean, it looks cute. I'm okay with it. I just was like, oh, shoot, I meant to kind of offset those. Now you can kind of see my photos here have the little stripes on them, and they look really cute. I'm just going to kind of wank them a little bit there. Not wank. Oh, my gosh. Wonk. That was terrible. I'm going to just kind of wonk them there a little bit, just kind of like the tag, I got my string. I did kind of wrap that through and tied a big old bow. That's just, again, part of the sketch. And now I'm kind of looking at the title. I went ahead and went with that So Loved. I thought that was really cute. I'll tell you guys, I got these photos made. So my daughter, when she was born, this is back in the day, y'all. There wasn't like digital. Well, if there were digital cameras, they were way more expensive than I could have bought. But we didn't have phones, taking pictures kind of deal. So I took my daughter every month for her first year and got photos made at either JCPenney or Walmart or something like that, where you got one pose 1,000 times. You could buy other ones, but it would add up. So, but you could get like, one set of photos for like $20. And so I did that her whole first year every month. So I have an entire year's full of pictures, and I'm so grateful I did that. I'm not going to lie. If I go from the very beginning all the way to the end of the year, you just see the growth, and she's just so stinking cute. I'm so grateful I have those pictures. Okay, here's what I mean about the butterfly paper. It's really cute, and I start trying to put these embellishments down. I'm like, well, gosh, you can barely see them. So I'm going to mess around with this. I started that little card. I started with the bird, or the florals. I put the little frog there, and I'm like, okay, but I'm not sure I like any of those. I mean, I like the embellishment, but like for this layout, you know what I mean? So in a second, I'm going to decide I want a birdhouse. I don't know what made me think of the birdhouse. I like the little blue. I think it was because of the blue. I thought it stood out a little bit against the butterflies. So I put that down there. There's actually a little piece of grass that looks really cute at the bottom of the birdhouse. And then there's a cute flower and like some little leaves and stuff. And so I'm going to kind of poke these. I mess around. There's a lot to choose from, though. Doodlebug does tend to have like those packs that have like, I think 75 pieces or something like that. Tons to work with. And so when you get your little envelope here, you get, pretty good little sampling of them. I do decide to go ahead and put a couple of butterflies just because I like butterflies, and I'm so sorry. They look kind of cute. I will put the foam up on top of the birdhouse. I'll glue the bottom half down flat. I kind of like that because it makes it look, dimensional. So I'll do that. I will put foam behind the butterfly wings because, frankly, guys, I do that. If it's not 100% of the time, it's 99%. I always think a butterfly wing needs to have a little lift to it. So I'll put foam behind those butterfly wings, and I'll put foam behind that flower that's at the bottom. I think I'm just gluing down the grass here. You can kind of see them all dry fit. I was lucky, though. The sticker sheet, too, had an arrow. The sketch showed a little arrow on the far right side, and I was able to get an arrow off the sticker sheet. And you can kind of see the florals I've got on the right-hand side, too. I think that looks really cute. I think this follows the sketch pretty good, but then has its own little unique twist, maybe because of the two photos instead of the one big photo. I love that sun, too. The little faces Doodlebug has are just so stinking cute. I just love the little smiles. They're just tiny little smiles on the little happy faces and stuff, and I just thought that was really cute. It works perfectly at the top of the layout, too, because, the sun goes up there. Here's where I've got those butterflies. I do put a little Nuvo glue in the center so it kind of sticks to the paper and then lets the wings kind of lift. I will also get into, I'm really loving those little puffy birds. You can see it above the layout up there. There's little puffy birds with little puffy hearts and little puffy flowers. I don't use the birds on this layout, but I'm guaranteed I'm going to use them in some kind of way. I don't know yet how because they're too cute. It really didn't fit for this layout, but I definitely love those. Those are really cute. I do put foam underneath those couple of flowers on the right-hand side over there. And I don't know anything else I put foam under, I guess. I will get into these little guys here, and I'll take the little puffy hearts and just kind of sprinkle them around. And I think after that, I didn't journal on the tag. I almost did. I'll actually end up Nuvo gluing the strings down. I don't do that on camera. I kind of start to mess with it, and then I go ahead and just cut away. But I will put glue under those strings just to hold them in place to make it look, unintentionally casual, but on purpose. There's that. I think I put another couple of little hearts up there. There we go. We put those little hearts. I love these little hearts. This is so cute. I'm not sure, if I'm honest with you. I know this video is going to go up, I think, a couple of days after she posts the layout. And I don't think there's any kind of playlist or anything like that. But I'll definitely have a link to her website below. I will be clear, I am a subscriber. I have been buying this product for quite some time, her kits. But she did gift me these this month in order to do the design team stuff. So I was gifted these particular sets, but I am actually a subscriber and a big fan. I love her Facebook group. I love the sketches, the Freaky Fast Friday. She has cut files too. I just don't have a machine. So all that's included in your little subscription. So make sure you check that out. Thank you guys so much. There'll be a couple more layouts from this collection this month. So see you then. Bye.